Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. There's been some comments being made by the World Bank over the state of the Nigerian economy. Words like stay on the right path, be consistent, so you can sustain the effort in reforming the economy. And there are also some staggering statistics in relation to the Nigerian economy. 129 million Nigerians living in poverty. These are not the kind of figures one will want to live by, but especially because it's the reality that matters, the reality of the kind of livelihood and the standard of living of the average person in Nigeria, with the price of commodities skyrocketing and all of the statistics of the economy, or most of them in the negative. But the big question is, if the World Bank is saying that the fiscal side of the policy of the economy are on the right path, but how do you balance things out when those policies, according to the World Bank, is okay on the right path, but then the average life of the life of the average person is not showing or indicating that such policies are working? Oh well, they say patience in the internet, but let's get talking. Someone who is a former senator, a member of the APC, a former banker, Senator Yusuf, who joins us live here in our studio. It's good to see you, distinguished for. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Shaun. I'm pleased to be with you.
Thank you so much. You had a big fight up to the Supreme Court. You wanted to be Taraba governor, but here you are today. But give us an understanding, as a former banker, someone who has his eyes on the Nigerian economy, how would you describe some of the projections of the World Bank vis-a-vis what we are experiencing, the indicators of the Nigerian economy? How do you assess it? How do you describe the way things have gone?
Well, thank you very much. Before I answer your question, first of all, if we ask ourselves, how much quantity of crude oil are we producing? How much are we exporting? You will have different figures. NNPC will give you different figures. The multinational oil companies will give you different figures. OPEC will give you different figures. So which figures are you going to rely on? So I'm laying the foundation now. Now the figures that the World Bank or IMF, are talking about, some of them are questionable. Very, very questionable. I mean, if things are showing on the negative direction and World Bank and IMF are saying that, things are going on well, no, I don't know who is right or who is wrong. The reality is saying that the World Bank and the IMF are wrong in terms of, the statistics they are using. So for me, I think we need to look at these things, from the basics on how the economy is being run.
So you're saying that the IMF, the World Bank, these institutions are not reliable?
Well, the statistics, I'm talking about the statistics, where they get their statistics from, I don't know. So that's why I laid the foundation. Let the World Bank tell us exactly how much crude oil is being exported and how much crude oil is being, produced in this country. Now, if we get those statistics and compare and see with others, which one is more reliable? So we have to look at these figures once again. So
the question is, what have we been planning on? Because without statistics, what are the economists, what are they using to develop and design the economic template that we're using?
Shaun, ask me once again, which kind of statistics are we using? Which kind of statistics are we shunning out? Typical example, when we talk about this kind of statistics that we are talking about. For me, we have passed through so many issues, so many statistics that have been shown out. Nigeria Board of Statistics, the statistics from social areas and even from the banks and what have you. So, I think we are enemies to ourselves. We are refusing to bring out the real statistics that will conform with the realistic, nature of our development or the way we are progressing. So I think we need to look at, how we churn our statistics once again. We need to be very, very factual. We need to know the basis. We need to know how these things, are being done. We are not doing the right thing, in my own opinion, at this point in time.
Do you have faith in the Bretton Woods institutions? From around 1944, when these institutions were created, the goals and the objectives were very simple. A unification of global economies, policy direction for global economies, to have, for most countries to sing from the same hymn book, in terms of the direction of the policies for the peoples of the world. Those are some of the objectives and the standards of which these Bretton Woods institutions were created. But do you have faith in those institutions as far as the Nigerian economy is concerned?
You see, for me, there's a lot that needs to be desired in how they put their own policies. You see, in economics, you can base your policy on what we call, the classical economics. You can base it on the Keynesian, economics, but both of them cannot be together. When World Bank, IMF is saying in the long run, I think I read somewhere where they are saying that we need about 15 years down the line to stabilize. That is long term. Something that we can do in 3 years, 4 years. Why will we wait for the statistics they are using? Is the one that what I call a neo-colonial, kind of type of statistics that they are using.
So Nigeria should not rely on the IMF and
No,
the World
I
Bank?
don't think we need a domestic, type of solution to our issues, and not to be relying on somebody to come and tell us, because people think that, what the World Bank and IMF are saying, are just like words of the Quran or words of the Bible. I don't believe in that. Let us bring out our homegrown statistics. Let us bring our homegrown, policies that will be realistic to our nature of development.
Do you think that this government is pandering to these Bretton Woods institutions?
Yes, I think this government is adopting, the classical type of economics type of model of development, which I don't think, is what will help us in this country today.
Perhaps there are those, they're saying the removal of subsidies are working. The style of taxation, the policy direction in such a way that what government must do and what they should give to the people, and how, the management of the resources in such a way that those who will imagine that some of these will impoverish the people more and give to some people in the society. But the question will be now, does this party and the ruling party have its own objective? We imagine that they, in the onset, the APC, your political party, says it's supposed to be an ideology of the left of the center, other than the PDP, which said it was the right of the center, the conservativeness or the otherwise. And you look at the capitalist nature of the economy, where you throw it into the free market, you allow the private sector to thrive in running or directing the manner in which the economy, where the government actually put the ground for them to thrive. Do we look like we are confused in the manner in which we wanted to go? Or perhaps you think that the Tinubu government has its own master plan, which is perhaps also orchestrated or helped in design by these Bretton Woods institutions? Well,
thank you very much. The master plan of President Tinubu is okay. However,
you think it's okay?
Yes, however, the president does not have, he has the will, but he hasn't got the ability.
How do you mean?
He doesn't have the resources. He does the resources in terms of financial or even human. Yes, as far as I'm concerned, this country is undertaxed.
Undertaxed?
Yes, because this is the country where the poor is subsidizing the rich. That's what we have in this country today. The poor persons are subsidizing the rich.
And so you are in agreement with the tax reforms that is going on?
I agree.
That they are proposing.
I agree, but we need much more. We need to tax the rich class of this country, in favor of the poor people. The poor people, what are they getting? Even the subsidy. Is the subsidy favoring the poor person? What we say, let this government go for the fair value of the Naira. If today the Naira is fair, we will not go for subsidy. We will not have, the kind of subsidies we are talking about. The IMF the World Bank, in one instance, they say that the naira is undervalued. If the naira is undervalued and we agree that it is undervalued, why are we adopting the policy of devaluation? Why do we need to, for instance, stabilize at 1,500 around the average and not 500 naira? Why do we need to stabilize at a higher rather than the lower? So
you don't agree with the devaluation?
No, I don't agree at all.
But those are major decisions of this government. Unification of the FX market.
Why unify at the higher amount? Why not unify at the lower amount?
So there was something wrong as far as you're concerned.
As far as I'm concerned.
What should they have done? At what rate and at what value should they have implemented that?
Yes, what they should have done first and foremost to find out really, as they say, the naira is undervalued. So how do we attack undervaluation of the naira? And not to begin to, to flood the naira where you do not have the dollars to support it. The fundamentals are not right. And
you're not producing enough for you to be able to get the FX.
That is why I said the fundamentals are not right. Once the fundamentals
are right... Should they
have,
first of all, fill the bottom line, the baseline, and cushion it first and foremost, and enough FX. Let your economy also get the right buffers so that you can then now go ahead and do the right... Is that what you were proposing?
The fundamentals must be right. There must be a boost to the productive capacity of this of the economy.
So the basis of this economy was faulty in the first place?
This is my opinion.
Well, I mean, the reason why I asked the question is that a government function, because on its ideology and the fact that this government has said, or this political party upon which this government is sitting on, says that it's of the left of the center. And when you say that you are left of the center, it means fundamentally one thing. You are welfareist. Just for a moment, sir. You've removed subsidy on petrol. You remove subsidy on power. It looks so much that there is so much burden that the average person, the lowest in the strata, more people are now impoverished. You've taken all the succor, all the buffer, the average person, the poor, which your ideology said it was going to support. The welfareism that you said your party stands for has been lost. Don't you think, Senator?
There's another way of doing it. That's why I told you there was no need, for us to go for these massive subsidies. What we need is to attack the fair value of the naira. Either, supposing today our exchange rate is, maybe 500 naira to $1. How much subsidies are we going to do? Very minimal. So let us go to the rock bottom, to the fundamentals, and attack why is our naira has this kind of value.
But the World Bank is saying, Senator, that we are getting more money. The Nigerian government is getting more money. It is based on the removal of the subsidies.
It is not about getting money. Once you are getting money, there's so much money in the system. Then what do you do with so much money on the system? Inflation. The central bank is saying that, how will even the central bank, go on attacking the inflation that we have today? The World Bank is saying that, it will take a long time for increasing of these interest rates to attack, the liquidity in the system. So the fundamentals, have to be addressed.
To buffer the liquidity, because now you are fighting against the dollar, and your economy, your currency is struggling because you have matched it up against it, and it's not matching up. Every day it keeps struggling, and it's getting worse. Would you subscribe for those who say, approach the IMF, get some loan to allow the liquidity that you need for your currency to balance up? Do you subscribe to that kind of argument?
No, I don't.
You don't think that we need to seek some kind of credit from the IMF?
No, if you get the dollar, at what exchange rate are you going to convert it in this country?
Well, don't you need the liquidity?
No. The liquidity that we need, let us do the needful. For instance, are we getting the correct value of our export of crude oil in this country? Are we getting that? We are not getting that. I was in the Senate, in the 8th Assembly, in the 9th Assembly. We did what we call, investigation, on pre-shipment inspection of export, repatriation of export proceeds. Are the multinational oil companies repatriating the export proceeds as per the law of this country? They are not. Even the non-oil companies, are they repatriating? If the government will insist on these people to repatriate, On the other side, they say, well, if you insist, these people are going, their investment will fly out of this country. Who says so? The multinational oil companies are saying that they are going out of these countries because of bureaucracy and because of red tapeism. That is why they are leaving this country. But as far as we are concerned in this country, the fundamental thing is that let the law applies. Let them repatriate export flow, proceed of export, and then we'll have a flood of dollar in our hands.
So now, to get it right, what are these fundamentals you are talking about? What must this, because you said that this government might be doing the right thing, but it doesn't have the ability to make it happen.
Yes, okay.
What must they do?
The fundamental thing is that let us boost the revenue base of this country.
How?
Yes, by taxing the rich, by bringing by including a lot of issues, all the luxuries in this country. Why would the rich be enjoying the luxuries that they ought to pay more, and they are being subsidized? The luxuries.
In comparative analysis, which of the countries do you think is operating that and is effective?
No. First of all, is look at yourself before you look at the comparative. Example, all the luxuries, all the beautiful vehicles that we are importing in this country, all the beautiful, domestic, appliances, all the beautiful things that we are doing in this country, our wristwatches, our what do you call it, our textiles, our shoes, all these things, Sharon, where are we getting the money to buy them? Because we must find a way to curtail our taste for foreign goods.
So President Bola Tinubu's government is in trouble if these fundamentals are not corrected.
Of course they are. I said it before. I said it again. I will say it again. For instance, why all our textiles is imported? Why?
So we need to look inwards.
We need to look into fundamentally
and consume local.
Yes. How many of the innocent vehicles is the government buying? How many of those being assembled in Lagos is the government buying, or are the people buying? We need to look inward. It is from the inward that we are going to have a good development.
And there are more local vehicles now being produced. Jet Motors, Nord Motors, Innocent Motors.
Why import these expensive vehicles, increasing the employments of other countries? We leave our own. We need to improve even on our tariffs, of all these luxuries that we import in this country.
Thank you so much. Senator Abubakar Yusuf, it's always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hope to see you some other time. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. God bless Nigeria.